This dish is called lubia polo and Shirazi salad. Well, of course, this salad is from Shiraz. So lubia polo is lubia is actually in Farsi, it means beans, and polo is any kind of cooked rice. We call it polo. So when we say lubia polo, if you go to any Persian restaurant, if you ask any Persian what lubia polo is, they know this dish looks like something like this in the picture, which is on the left. So we usually make it with green beans and basmati rice. So I'm going to be talking about this, and feel free, please unmute yourself if you have any questions throughout the presentation. If I'm going too fast or if it's a little complicated, just feel free to ask me any questions, because I did my best to find the simple Persian dish, because usually Persian food, it actually takes long to make. So I tried to find like a very simple dish that is easy to make for everyone. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And the salad that you see on the right is a Shiraz salad, which is pretty much, it's like a very famous salad from Iran. We usually serve it with any kind of dish. And so let's say if you go to like a Persian restaurant and you ask for a salad on the side, you will most likely be getting a Shirazi salad. And I am going to show you how to make it. It's so simple and it's so yummy. But a little background of like where this dish is actually from. So as I mentioned, it's from Shiraz, and that's Shiraz is a city in Iran, which is in southwest of Iran. And Shiraz is actually very famous for like being a historical city, and famous for known as the city of poets, and also known for its flowers and its beautiful gardens. So as you can see in the picture, there's a picture of a garden called Aram Garden on the top, which is actually, it was built in 13th century. And it was called the Emperor Garden in Persia back then. But now it's just there for tourists. I mean, it's beautiful. The building is beautiful, and it has like beautiful flowers and like a very beautiful garden in the back. So it's just like very famous for like for the building and the architecture as well.
Farnaz, is there anything inside, like a museum collection?
It's not a museum. It's just basically like architecture that people go inside and look at like all the drawings on the wall, but there's not like a museum collection there. But as you can see, like up there, you see that blue section. Those are like all like, they're all like in detail colored. And so that's why people go in and just to look. And then here, the picture in the bottom is the tomb of Hafiz. Hafiz is a very famous Persian poet. And so he was originally from Shiraz, and he died in 14th century. So this building, or his tomb, was built back then, but it was renovated in the 19th century. And then people just go in and pray, and it has a beautiful garden around it, as you can see. So it's a very famous place to go and visit in Shiraz. So I just...
Farnaz, are there ever any public poetry readings there?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've never been to one, but I've heard there are a lot of them. So yeah, totally. I mean, it's a city of like poetry. So that's why a lot of people go there. There are other tomb of like other poets in there too. So yeah, there are. Yeah, just a little background of like Shiraz. It is a very beautiful city. If you ever get a chance to go to Iran, make sure that you visit Shiraz. And yeah, but my dad was born there, and he lived in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, most of his life. And I was actually born there, but I've been to Shiraz a few times, and it's beautiful. All right. So About our food, so the lubia polo, I'm going to be talking about the main dish, and then I'll explain how to make the salad after. So the ingredients that we need for the main dish is we need ground beef. I'm not really good with measures, so it's just like I put 1 pound, but this measurement is actually good for, like, I would say 3 to 4 people, but it all depends. I mean, yeah, when I made it, it was good for like 3 people, 3 to 4. So yeah, 1 pound of ground beef, and we need 1 large onion. You have to make sure that the onion is chopped in small pieces. And we need tomato paste and or tomato sauce. I'll explain the difference throughout the process. You could use either of them or you could use both. And we need 1 pound of fresh green beans, or you could use a can of cut green beans. I mean, my mom always makes this dish with fresh green beans because, well, it's tastier. I mean, it's fresh, but that usually requires another like extra 40 minutes for the green beans to be cooked. So I usually use this, the can of cut green beans, and it tastes the same. So, but it's faster and quicker to make. So, and then we need 2 cups of uncooked basmati rice. The picture that you, the rice that you see in the picture, this is basmati rice. I usually get my rice from Persian market, but I mean, I get, the brand is called Royal, and it's a really good basmati rice. So you can find it in Persian market, international market, but any kind of basmati rice would work. But because we're mixing our mixture with the rice at the end, we just have to make sure that it is basmati rice, because we don't want the rice to be like very sticky or like very soft. And we need salt, pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, and also saffron. Persians use saffron in pretty much everything. As you can see in this picture, this is saffron. When you buy it from the market, usually you can buy it from Persian markets or international markets. It looks something like this. And it's a very famous spice from Iran. So it's very famous for its smell, and it gives like a very nice color to the food. So what we do, we usually like crush it and make it like into like very like, it's like a powder here. And you just need just a little bit of it, like half teaspoon, that's enough. We usually mix it with hot water, and you need to let it sit for like 10 to 15 minutes. And then you would have great, beautiful color, and you can add it to like any food you want. And we need cooking oil, and I usually use avocado oil for like any dish I make, but you can use any kind of oil. You can use olive oil, you can use regular oil, so it's up to you. All right, so we need to start with our beef. So how you make it, just like a regular ground beef, how we make it, and we add cooking oil to a large pan. Then we add chopped onions, and then you stir until gold, and then you add your ground beef.
Hey, sweetie.
Yes, do you have any questions? Oh, I thought that was a question. Okay, so yeah, you add the chopped onions, and then you mix it with ground beef. And then you mix in salt, pepper, and turmeric. So what we need to do here is that you put the pot on medium heat, and you use your spatula to break up the beef into small pieces. This is very important because when we mix it with rice, we don't want the beef to be in like big chunks. So as you can see in the picture on the left, we want it to be like as small as possible. So you can see I used a spatula, and then I broke it up into like very small pieces with the onion. And then you add half a cup of water to the beef, And then you put the lid on and let it cook for almost 15 to 20 minutes. So here's the trick. We do not want the liquid to evaporate completely before adding the beef or the tomato sauce. So we do still want the liquid to be there. So if you feel like after 15 minutes, like the water and the liquid is completely gone, you can add a little bit more water to it, because we definitely want to have something like this, just like a little bit of like liquid, and then add green beans, because we want the green bean to cook for another 10 to 15 minutes. So right before the liquid is evaporated, you add your green beans. When I say green beans, this is the can. I mean the can of green bean, not the fresh ones. If you decide
Yeah, Farnaz, can you give the variation if it's
so if you decide to make this with fresh green beans, first we need to like wash it, cut it in like small pieces, and then we need to cook it for an extra 40 minutes. We do not want to add fresh green beans to the beef because it won't cook. And it would be like hard, and like when you mix it with the rice, it doesn't taste as good. So you cook it or you steam it for like an extra 30 to 40 minutes, and then you rinse the water and add it to the beef. Okay, if you decide to make with fresh ingredients. But if you decide to make it with the can, you just add it to the beef right away. So that's the difference. Usually you have to cook it separately. We don't mix fresh green beans with the meat at all. So you cook it separately and then you add it, and then you let it cook for another 10 minutes. So after that, you add tomato paste. Okay. So the difference between tomato paste and tomato sauce is here. So tomato paste is a little thicker. And then when you add it to your mixture, you can see in the picture on the right, we want the mixture to be like thick and not too like watery or liquidy. So if you decide to add tomato sauce, that's fine. But you need to let it cook longer so that it's like the mixture is thicker. Okay, the sauce and the paste, they both like have good taste. They're pretty much the same, but the sauce is more watery. So we want it cook a bit longer. But if you decide to add tomato paste, I would say 2 tablespoons, that would be fine. That would be enough. Just add that, mix it, and then let it cook a little bit, and then that's it. You're good. So right after you add tomato paste or tomato sauce, we add cinnamon and a little bit of saffron here. So the color that you see is, of course, tomato paste, but also we have saffron in this picture. So you can see that it's a little like red and like orange, that's the saffron. And then you mix it, you put it on low heat and let the mixture cook for another 10 minutes. So when I say cook, it's just like you just let it be for another 10 minutes so that it's like a little thicker. Because we're mixing it with rice, we don't want it to be like very soft. And when we add it with rice, we don't want it to be like very sticky, watery, and soft. That's what I mean.
Is it covered for the last 10 minutes there?
Yes. You put the lid on and you let it cook, but on low heat. Yeah. So any questions so far? No? Okay. All right, so we will then begin making our rice. So first we need to rinse the uncooked rice for about 4 or 5 times just to get rid of anything that might be in it. And then you boil a large non-stick pot of water. You add salt, oil, and uncooked rice to the water. This is pretty much similar to how we make like pastas or something, but I mean, you could add everything and put put it on boil, or you can have the water boil and then add rice to it. I mean, either or, you would pretty much get the same result. The main thing here is that you need to check the rice regularly, and you want to make sure that the rice is not too soft, but at the same time, we want it to be soft enough. So I usually say it's like soft on the outside, a little bit hard on the inside, because the rice is going to cook with the mixture again. So we just don't want it to be like too soft, because that way it'll break and it'll give you like very like sticky mixture. So as you can see in the picture on the left, while it's boiling, I'm checking it regularly just to make sure that I have the right like softness. And then once you feel like it's good, you can chew it. It's not that hard. It's good enough, soft enough. So you just rinse it, and you turn off your burner, rinse the rice using cold water and colander. You can see in the picture in the middle. So you put cold water on it and let it sit for like 5 minutes. And then, you add enough oil to the rice pot that we were actually boiling rice in it. You add enough oil to cover the bottom, and then you start layering the rice, saffron water mix. You can see in this picture on the right, this yellow rice, this is saffron water. This is the color that saffron will give to like white rice. And then you mix green bean mixture. So how it works, you put oil, 1 layer of white rice, 1 layer of saffron water, and 1 layer of your meat mixture. Okay. That's how it is in this picture. So you keep layering, okay, until everything is in the pot. So white rice, mixture, saffron water. And then while you can see in the picture on the left, while I'm like putting all the layers in, I usually add cinnamon. I usually add a little bit of oil. If I feel like it's a little dry and like I need more oil, I add oil here to like layers. So once you have everything in your pot, it looks something like this, like the picture in the middle. So one trick is that you poke about 6 holes all the way down to the rice to the bottom of the pot using the handle of your spatula. You can see in this picture, I'm making these big holes. About 6 holes would be enough. Why do we do this? Because once we put the lid on, we want the mixture to cook. We want every layer, everything to cook. And so that's why this actually allows it to cook faster, and also you would have a better mixture. I learned this from my grandma and it works, so I thought I should mention it. So yeah, put 6 holes and then you put the lid on, okay? Put it on low to medium heat, maybe medium heat, depending on your burner, but like medium heat, and then put the lid on. Let it cook. When the steam rises to the lid, usually this happens after like 10 to 15 minutes. You can see that the steam is rising to the lid. You add a little bit more oil to this, okay? So once you add more oil, you just put the lid on again, let it cook for about 25 to 30 minutes.
Farnaz, are you putting the oil in the holes or just spreading it across the top?
Yeah, in the holes. I mean, it could work either way, but yeah, if you put it in the holes, it'll go all the way to the bottom, so that way the whole mixture would have oil and it'll cook faster. And then once you put the lid on, you cook it for 25 to 30 minutes. And then that's ready. You can see in the picture, this is how we serve it. You see like the saffron, the yellow thing is saffron. So yeah, after 25 to 30 minutes, this is the color that you will get, and this is the dish. and you serve it in like a big serving dish or however you would like to serve it, and that's it.
And what is the consistency of the bottom rice, the rice at the bottom? I know when you did your draft run with us, you were talking about crispy rice.
Yeah. So, I mean, crispy rice is very famous in Iran. I mean, we call it tadik. So, usually you would have crispy rice if you put the pot on like the right heat and you have enough oil for the rice to be crispy on the bottom. So that's how you can actually show how great you're cooking. So usually when you put it on like medium heat, you have enough oil in the bottom of the pot. On medium heat, usually you would get crispy rice. But I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's not that crispy, sometimes it is. It all depends. Crispy rice is hard to make, I'm not gonna lie, but like using a rice cooker, usually we get that crispy rice because I mean, the amount of heat is like controlled in there. But yeah, usually if you put it on medium heat, you have the most important thing about crispy rice is having enough oil in the bottom of the pot. So if you have enough oil, like more than enough, you would get really good crispy rice.
And Farnaz, that's really desirable then, right? Yeah, I mean, that's what you're looking
Yes. Yeah, that shows your cooking skills, you know? So yeah, I sometimes get it, sometimes don't, sometimes burn it. So it all depends.
And I have another question.
Sure.
In the chat, Debbie asks a question about the cinnamon because in the list of ingredients, it says 1 tablespoon. And then in the details, it says 1 teaspoon. And she's asking what she should use. And then she follows it up by clarifying if the additional cinnamon is used for layering.
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, so 1 teaspoon when you mix it with the mixture in like the beef, and then layering, you add more. So I usually add more than that because I love cinnamon in my lubia polo, but it's up to you. But in total, we need 1 tablespoon. That would be enough if you're not into cinnamon at all. So yeah, just like half of it in your beef mixture and half of it in when you use layering, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Any other questions before I move on to our salad? Sorry, I can't really read the chat here. So,
Okay, Penny asks, adding canned green beans, should they be drained?
Yes, absolutely. You could keep a little bit of the water in the can, but usually we drain it because we don't want, as I mentioned, we don't want the mixture to be like have a lot of liquid in it or water in it. So yes, great question.
Don't you recommend rinsing them too? Because usually vegetables that are canned, there's a lot of salt for preservatives.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I usually don't, but because I want to have that flavor in like the meat mixture. So I usually don't, but I just drain the water a little bit and then just add it to the meat. But up to you. Yeah. I mean, if you want to get rid of all that preservative and salt, yes. I mean, my mom always makes it with fresh green beans. It's a lot better, but I mean, you save more time with this, so up to you. All right, should we move on to our salad? Okay, so Shirazi salad, I mean, it's very easy to make. We just need cucumber, tomatoes, onion, parsley, lime juice, dried mint.
Let me see what you colored. Did you color anything?
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, I think it's someone who needs to be on mute. Please keep yourselves on mute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So one thing about this, I use dried mint, but you could use fresh mint.
That is so nice. I love all the colors you use.
Okay. So I usually use mint, dried mint, but you could use fresh mint as well. So either or would work. So what we do is that we chop cucumber, tomato, onion, and parsley in small pieces. As you can see in this picture, this is how small we want this to be. And then you mix them, and then you add lime juice, your dried mint or fresh mint cut in like very small pieces, and then salt as needed. I usually like it more like sour, and like, so that's why I use more lime juice in it. But I mean, it's up to you. But then you add your mint and salt and you mix everything, and that's it. I'm pretty sure that you have seen like in like it looks like different kinds of Mediterranean salad, but they have like other stuff in it. But Shirazi salad, it's just cucumber, tomato, onion, and that's it. And just some herbs.
So there was a question in the chat, flat parsley or curly parsley?
Either or would work. I mean, they both would add that same flavor to it. So I mean, either or. I use both. Was there another question? Okay. So yeah, and that's it. This is the final result of our dish, and this is the salad. Usually how it's served, I mean, we serve the lubia polo in a separate dish and then a bowl of salad on the side. But usually Persians, they mix everything. So, but yeah, this is how it's served. And Nusha John, I put it right here. Nusha John is a bon appetit in Farsi. So if you ever try this dish, Nusha John, hope you like it. And yeah, that's it. I mean, let me know if you have any questions or anything.
Looks wonderful, delicious. I'm dying to make it.
Hope I didn't make it really complicated, because it's not that complicated, but there's just like a little, I don't know, just some tricks and specific steps that you need to follow. It's not that complicated though. This is the easiest dish. So
there was a question of whether you use the Persian English cucumber, or which was the other one?
I usually get Persian cucumber. So I'm Persian. I love Persian cucumber. I usually use Persian cucumber, but I mean the regular ones would work too. But Persian cucumbers are the best.
Okay. So I know this is, sort of a set flavor profile. I'm unfortunately quite the addict of spicy food. So is it possible to like add peppers?
I mean,
like habanero or something.
I usually add pepper to like every food I make, but it doesn't make it as spicy because I make it with black peppers. But yeah, I mean, you could, why not? I mean, you can try it. Let me know how it goes. But usually Persian foods are not like that spicy. We do add a lot of spices to our food, but we don't make it as spicy. So
right.
Yeah.
Looks lovely. Well, thank you very, very much. Is there anybody else who has a question? Otherwise, we promise we will send off the recipes to everybody.
I think there was a question. It says your lubia polo is made in layers, but your final photo looks like everything has been mixed. Oh yeah, okay, that's a great question. So yeah, when you do all layers, we don't mix it until we serve it. So it's best if you don't mix it, because that way your rice will break. So when you mix it, then once you serve it, you can mix a little bit and then serve it in a serving dish. That's how it looks. That's why it looks that it's been mixed. So when you do layers, you don't mix. After 30 minutes that it's all cooked, you can mix a little bit and then serve it. That's how it is. That's a great question. Thank you.
So one more question for you, Farnaz. If you're lazy and you don't want to make this, is there a great Tehrani restaurant in San Diego that serves this?
Oh yeah, there are so many. There is one called Bandar, which is in downtown. There is one in downtown also called Sadaf. And there's one in Del Mar. Oh my God, what was the name? There's Alborz. There's one called Alborz in Del Mar. I mean, any restaurant, any Persian restaurant, usually they have this. But I mean, when you go to Persian restaurants, people usually order famous kebabs like kubide kebab or chicken kebab or different stews that are really super famous in Iran. So but lubia polo is usually on the menu, but not always. You know, it depends on the restaurant. Lubia polo is like a very homemade type of food. But yeah, I mean, there are different restaurants in San Diego.
Well, thank you so very much, Farnaz. Really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope you liked it. Hope you can try and let me know how it goes. So if you have any questions, I'm available through email or